everybody, hello, welcome back to me, welcome back to my channel. True Blue Tie here in Thailand. It's Parahasabodi here in Thailand, which is Thursday, about 9 o'clock in the morning. Barely good, I'm organised today. And cloudy day. I was actually going to go running this morning, but I thought, and then I thought, oh, it's going to rain, and I thought, no, it hasn't, it's going to clear up. Of course, it's going to be another 30-degree day. And yeah, so I haven't gone running, but I've also got other things to do, so I'll do it hopefully tomorrow. So what's it called? But depending on, you know, again. But yeah, so it would have been an idea to go running today, no blazing sunshine, which is fine. Again, you get used to it, but there you go. And talk about getting used to it. Christ, you British people, you drive me mad. You get a bit of sun, you go, you too hot. Guys, let's not talk about the weather. Let's talk about you moaning Brits and about the weather. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about Manchester City. And after the craziness of yesterday, for instance, things are kind of like calmed down a bit now. For instance, and there's a certain degree of what's it called? Reflection on things, etc., and of where we are with the two players and of the four players, basically. What's it called? Savinho on one side and Sabio, the Fs, the Brazilians, on one side, and then we've got Donnarumma and Edison, the goalkeepers, on the opposite side. Now, let's have a look. Let's have a think. Right. Now, first of all, we'll go to Savinho and Rodrigo. Now, both Brazilian, both temperamental. This is what bothers me, because we could be swapping one temperamental son of a bitch to another. And both kind of like entitled because they want to play, and they're getting a bit upset because they don't want to play and they want to play in certain areas. So Savinho, for instance, who was a lot less, because I did see a montage of Rodrigo's accomplishments at Real Madrid, and he looked pretty damn good, and he looked pretty damn sharp, and he scored yesterday in their 4-0 win, the day before yesterday in their 4-0 win against that Tyrol side. Anyway, so when he came off with his 61st minute, he went off on the and he scored on the 81st. And yeah, so for instance, then he went down the tunnel, for instance, clearly upset, blah blah blah. So anyway, so it appears that, for instance, where the state of play is at the moment, that there's been a miserly offer by the Spurs. The Spurs, can't stand them. One of my hated teams after the Rags. And yeah, so for instance, and they've offered a 50 million euros, which is very insulting. God knows where Spurs are getting their information for. How do you know that Savinho was unsettled or whatever, or concerned about his place? Where's Spurs? Because with the Morgan Gibbs White thing, etc., this is the back of my mind. How do they know these things? Who's saying these things? Is it the agent putting the feelers out and saying he's upset? Who knows? But it appears that, for instance, and I think we've dropped the ball in the mentality of Savinho, because if he was so adamant of coming from Girona to Manchester City, how he wanted to play for Man City, I always wanted to play blah 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 blah, you know, give us the usual la 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 la, and then what's it called, the big one, and for instance, started off fine, and then kind of what's it called, was developing, should I say, needed goals and assists, what's it called, which Man City wanted him to play on the right rather than say on the left, which is weird, because I thought, you know, him and Doku should be on the left and right. But it appears that, for instance, so he's now, after one season, and Man City had a bad season last season, right? Okay, compared to our standards, still got third, still got one more games than Arsenal. But it appears that, for instance, he's kind of like kicking his toys out the pram, because he's looking at Oscar Bob, he's looking at him, thinking that he's not going to get enough starts. It appears that he doesn't want to compete. He wants to be this insurance. He's worried about his future, about what's called future starts. Now again, that could be his agent, it could be him, and if it's him, etc., he needs to man up, because quite honestly, you're not given, when you come to this level, you're not given an automatic first choice. E.g., we'll come back onto Trafford's situation, and but it's not an automatic. So I think thinking he's kicking his toys out the pram and saying, "Oh, it feels a bit uncertain." Spurs have got wind of it for some strange reason. I don't know how they have. And then suddenly, for instance, now they've put in a 50 million pounds offer, or is it euros offer, to what's it called, to Savinho, which is way under the estimates of the guy. I know, okay, we got him for a lot less, but still. Anyway, so it was the fact that, well, you know, again, so for instance, if he doesn't man up and whatever and expect a bit of competition, and he doesn't want to see it or whatever, and he wants to move on just because he doesn't feel the love from Pep Guardiola or whatever, or, you know, like, I think, for instance, we're kind of dodging a bullet here, and the mentality of this guy is pretty weak. And he, rather than being like a John Stones or someone like that, and standing up and saying, listen, no, I'm going to fight for my place, Oscar Bob, rather than opportunity to go, he's you know, like, I think, for instance, if he wants out, then I think we should get rid of him. Now, the person we're going to replace him with, by the looks of it, also Rodrigo, also has a bit of a Brazilian mentality. They also want, I believe, want to play the Brazilian football team. But if you're good enough, you'll play in the Brazilian football team. But if you're not good enough, then you're not going to play. And what's good, and just because you're playing doesn't mean you're automatically right. So I think, for instance, some of these players get a bit too. Even though I don't agree with not Jim White. I definitely don't agree with that son of a bitch. Simon Jordan. There is a certain degree of entitlement by fans and football players. I like. Just because, you know, who I am and blah blah blah, and the old, you know, like there's the thing of Jack Grealish at the moment. Oh, now Jack Grealish has an opportunity to shine because of Pep Guardiola's style of play. Blah, crap, nothing to do with it. Anyway, so the fact is, and I think his mentality. So I'm concerned about swapping one ego to another ego, but this guy's got a bigger ego, but he also can do it on the pitch. And if he wants to start on the pitch, so why don't you start? And if he can deal with it on the pitch, we're quite happy to keep you playing. If you stop doing it on the pitch, then you're going to be dropped, or you will be substituted. You've got to suck it up. And this is the thing. So there's no entitlement at this level. You're always going to have competition. And sometimes, so I'm a little bit concerned. So even though, for instance, I'm happy to see Savinho go if he's complaining about one season and he's worried about, for instance, he's not going to get the 90, he's not going to play, he's not going to be the first name on the team sheet, then I think it's goodbye to bad rubbish. So, for instance, and as long as the Spurs pony up the dough, then I'm quite happy to see him bye-bye. So with Rodrigo, again, I urge caution because I think, for instance, we don't really know, for instance, whether this guy is also going to be this temperamental SOB, for instance, who also could cause us problem later down the line. With saying that, though, for instance, we want our title back, and we don't need like a project player, really. I want a guy, for instance, who can hit the right running, like Ryan Rangers, right Cherky, right Nuri, like Mo Mamouche, and this guy, for instance, as long as he gets on with everybody else, and he looks like he fully respects and he's in awe of Pep Guardiola. Hopefully, for instance, he'll come along, etc., and do the businesses, and then we can go to Anfield and reclaim what is rightfully ours. So I'm okay with it. So, for instance, the thing going through, do I expect it to go through? I do, honestly. Unless, depending on, I know what City are coming out with the party line and saying, for instance, we don't want him to go, but I do believe he'll, for instance, if Spurs can pony up the dough, for instance, they lost against PSG yesterday, 2-2, they'll probably come claim it as a win because they went out on penalties and they showed a bit of fight. And compared to last season and their dismal performance last season, but I am not concerned. I am so I think, for instance, they will kind of like turn around and go okay, for instance, and try and push Man City to the end of the transfer window for the salary. But I think Man City should turn around and say, listen, you either A, come in with the money, or B, get the hell out, because again, for instance, I don't expect the negotiations to be a little bit productive, especially with Spurs. Can't stand them leaving. Anyway, so the next one I'm going to talk about is the goalkeeping situation. Very similar, really, to a point where Manchester City, because everybody's kicking off and saying, well, blah, 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 what about Trafford, la, la, la. Well, the fact is, we knew that, for instance, that Edison could go, wanted to go, have an interest in leaving because of the fact that the fan base weren't appreciating him, and some of them slagged off his wife on Instagram because of the Club World Cup. Pathetic, disgusting, and if that's you, then you need to go and find yourself a new club, and then go and get yourself apologise to Edison. Now, my concern is here. Now, well, sorry. The fact is that where with the state of play is that, for instance, Galatasaray have kind of made a bit of a measly bid of €6 million, £6 million or something like that, where Man City want to consider like 13. And for instance, but I believe that I expect them to probably meet in the middle. 3-year contract, £115,000 a week he'll probably get, which is a bit more than what he's getting at Man City. I think we way underpaid him. City, for instance, disgustingly underpaid him, but I expect that to go. If they just stub up a little bit more money, etc. For instance, I think that'll go. I think I want it to go, and the reason why, not because I'm in a massive rush to get Donnarumma in, is because even though Man City have said we want to keep Ederson, but if he was to go, did they go, and he wants to go, there will have question marks about Ederson's performance throughout the entire season with our fans, and if he makes a blunder, I can see one blunder, one cat, whatever, didn't save something or didn't do something, I can see our fan base jumping on him big time. And what's he got? Which are not the proper City fans, the crappy City fans. And I think there'll always be rumours. I think I'll be listening to LB, and even though like the guy, for instance, and listen to him and Hugh doing a fantastic podcast, and I saw him listening with Nobbins as well, doing a great podcast. But but the fact is, he will always be saying throughout the entire summer, is Eddie head in the game? Does he really want to stay at City? Could he have done better? Is this? And I think his that will always be in the back of Manchester City fans' minds if anything makes any kind of mistake. And also, so for instance, I think it's the time just to go. Again, we need to just cut out the cancer, cut out whatever, and then just get rid. Not because of any other reason other than the fact that I think, for instance, it would be good for Ederson for a fresh start made somewhere else. Also, for instance, again, we're bringing in Donnarumma and a good, excellent goalkeeper and world-class goalkeeper. And for instance, and we can start afresh. And because again, Ederson will always be linked with the fact that he's leaving at the end of the season. Does he care? Does he this? If he makes any mistake, unless he has a blinding season, blah blah blah. Other than that, for instance, any kind of mistake he makes, etc., he's going to be penalised. But also James Trafford. Why can't they put James Trafford out? Ederson needs to drop. He needs to get rid of him. We should have got him. I can just feel it. By December, people are going to be moaning about Ederson and everything he does. So I think we better get rid of him. Now the fact is, everybody's talking about James Trafford. Isn't it a bit fun affair from James Trafford? I think that's crap. I think honestly, James Trafford knows that, for instance, when he comes, not leaving Burnley, no disrespect for Burnley, you come into a team like Man City, there's going to be this word, and they go back to the Sabinho thing, competition. And the competition for places at Manchester City, so he's not going to be the only one. We've made him our best, the Manchester City's the highest. We paid the most for an English goalkeeper. We brought him back. There's a commitment to the club, to James Trafford. He should not feel in any way bent out of shape in any way whatsoever. But he knows that he needs to perform on the pitch and when he gets the opportunity to do so. Now, so for instance, Donnarumma has never played in the Premier League, so we don't know how he's going done. We don't know about this Pep playing for the back, even though he's not a Pep Guardiola sign. I'm still getting sick and tired of that as well. Oh, he's not a Pep Guardiola player. He can learn. That's the reason why we have training pictures. You learn. I'm 61 years old. You learn, right? No too old to learn, I'm sure. Now, but the fact is, can he do the between the sticks? Yes. So, for instance, and it could be a very interesting competition between them two, between Trafford and Donnarumma, Francis. So, and I think we should take the opportunity. Do I think it'll happen? Yeah, I do, really do. Because quite honestly, for instance, I think Ederson is kind of like he's kind of more each and every day goes by. As soon as Galatasaray, like Spurs, is putting up the dough, for instance, give us a bit more money, shows some bloody respect about the transfer fee, not trying to get everybody on the cheap like Spurs. And so, for instance, and then you got yourself a very good goalkeeper. Sorry to see Ederson go. Always be remembered. Fantastic goalkeeper at Man City. They won us a treble. Absolutely fantastic saves towards the end to get us in. And so absolutely love it. So let's get the deal done. Will it happen? Yes, I do. I do believe it'll happen. But about all this nonsense about James Trafford crap, I just can't stand. Right, okay, so let's do a bit of house cleaning business before I come on to our captain, because I wanted to talk about it yesterday and I ran out of time. If you don't know me, I'm truly Thai. I do these 20 minute videos about our club. I do rabbit on a bit. That's the reason why I'll go over my time. So Man City have rejected the 25 million plus 5 million for Notts Forest. Get away. The McAtee thing, I expect that to go through very quickly. Jack Grealish kept covering 75% of Jack Grealish's £300,000 a week salary. Still means that City are going to pony up £3 million quid. But I believe Jack Grealish is actually not going to be playing for us. So that was a strange one. The contract. Right, okay, let's talk about the captain. That's a bit of positiveness. Now, one thing what you want from your captain is to stand up. When Fitz and company, Rodrigo, Luis Diaz, Ruben Diaz, sorry, and what's it called? Fernandinho, Ruben Diaz, Rodri, etc. And people always have a kind of like sneaky thing. Oh, he wants to go, la la la. I have no doubt that Bernardo Silva's heart is at Man City, and I have no doubt he's going to stand up and want to be counted at City and leave Man City next season with a medal and things like that. And listen to him saying what I'm saying. And he's done an interview. What's it called? And which was let me just read these. What he says. The stability of the team and how well a team defends builds the rock necessary to win games and titles. I have a game in mind. Spurs in the Carabao Cup when we got our fourth centre back injured, John Stones, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz, and Nathan Ake all out. That's when things started going downhill. True. Not just that, because a team with our experience quality, even with that, cannot go down as easy as we did. So there is a lot of guilt. I am sure if that there's in the proper world, but guilt is always in all of the rest of the players and the manager. Everyone on not doing better to overcome the situation. But we've learnt a lot. So they're taking responsibility. You definitely learned a lot, and you find out who you can go to war with and who you can't. Okay, that was actually people like whoa, who's he talking about there? The biggest task is not just my task, but all the captain is to create the right balance in the dressing room. Let's say that the right balance is a good behaviour and respect in terms of arriving on time, performing well in training, and giving your best for the club. Don't take any shortcuts. Don't try and cheat at your job, but at the same time, balance this respect which we have for each other and with the competition, competing for your place and your position. I want to play all games and the guys, but in our position, but also wants to play all the games. So you'd say no, the competition. Every old player wants to play all the games, and you got to realise, etc. The only way you're going to play is to perform. I think that kind of balance because that competition, you need the healthy competition. That's what Savinio's not getting. I think that kind of balance of having a lot of respect and great relationships in the dressing room, but at the same time competing against each other and puts us into a step closer to fight back. This one didn't photocopy very well. But I am a bad loser. I hate losing. I played 12 years at Benfica, Portugal. The way if you're not happy when you lose, maybe it's very nice to watch from the outside, like you think you need as players to face. But when you lose a game, after the game, you feel bad with yourself and perfect on the way. Where we tasted defeat, and when you God, sorry, I photocopied this pretty badly, so it's not very clear. A success in it, but we didn't want anyway. So I can't read it very well. So hang on, here we go. We tasted defeat, and when you taste success and defeat, it feels much better. We didn't enjoy last season, it was very frustrating, very painful for almost all of us, and we're back with that hunger and to go again for titles. It's not about winning or losing, it's about competing for the titles. We didn't even try emotionally. We were defiant, back and hurting. Let's see if we have the equality because of all the beauty, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, what he's basically was saying, which I totally agree with him, he's basically saying, for instance, the team's got the hunger back. I think the team has got the hunger back. I think there is a great deal of we need to right a wrong, because I do believe, etc. Like the Phil Forden says, quote, I was more hurt. I'll never disrespect winning a trophy, whatever it is, again, because I know what it's like to lose and it hurts. So, and he's saying the same thing, and he's right about the Spurs game. After the Spurs, we fell off a cliff and went down. We were quite happy to go out the League Cup. Okay, fair enough, because of the cup competitions we were coming up, and but we never expected the injuries we got. Blah blah blah. There's certain things we can turn around and say that the transfer window, Rodgers' injury, Bob's injuries to players. Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne's injury, la la la. There's so many things. Okay, so it wasn't just one thing last season. It was a combination of a load of things last season. But also, I do believe, for instance, I think the guys didn't wear. I remember Erling Haaland sat in the dressing room, and then they had that quote. You remember that quote? And he says, "Nobody's won the Premier League title 4 in a row." Okay. And then he was like, early Howard, like, what's this? And it was the motivation. I think the players have got the motivation, but they can be a bit complacent with Man City. And so for instance, and I think they've very realised now, and everybody's writing them off already. Oh, we're going to be third, Man City, Liverpool's going to win, Liverpool. And I think Man City want to right the wrong. That's why I got great confidence that this man is going to lead us to another Premier League title. 100%. And I think, for instance, with the players that we got in the right, yes, we have a right back issue. We sort out the goalkeeping situation, get rid of Rafinha, bring in Rodrigo, bring in Donnarumma, for instance, get rid of Edison, whatever, sort that out. Yes, we got an issue with the right back and transitions, my biggest concern. But other than that, I do believe, for instance, if you look at us compared to, Man City's 22 compared to Liverpool's 22, and only batting a few defenders, which they needed to do. But they're just replacing what they've got. And also, Man City transition, Liverpool transition, Arsenal doing what Arsenal do. Do they have the mentality? But I think, for instance, we've got to, and I think Man City can really do this. And but I just do, I really do believe we can win the league. And so for instance, I think by the looks of it, with the players and the hunger and and everything. So. Really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to my new Man City kit. Well, I've got this the blue one. I've got the black one coming up. Or it's the navy blue coming today. So I'm really looking forward to that. You'll probably see me that one. That's on its way at the moment. It's 30-degree heat here in Thailand, etc. You don't wear things like this or hoodies or whatever. You have to wear. You got to adapt to the heat. Britain, adapt to the heat. Anyway, guys, gonna love you and leave you. True Blue Thai from Thailand. Like and subscribe. Tell me what you think.